Well, I can answer that for the president. It's for him. No, seriously.
I'd rather have him answer.
Yeah, I'd rather answer that. It will be.
Our president will respond to you.
Yeah,
Thank you, Mr. President.
It will take President Trump listening to the voices of South Africans, some of whom are his good friends, like those who are here. When we have talks between us around a quiet table, it will take President Trump to listen to them. I'm not going to be repeating what I've been saying. I would say if there was Afrikaner farmer genocide, I can bet you these three gentlemen would not be here, including my Minister of Agriculture. He would not be with me.
Influence, move with a practiced grin, shaking hands with the lights that dim. The White House walls heard his claim to fame, but the shadows whispered a different name. Oh, Ramaphosa, what's the cost? Truth uncovered, bridges crossed. You played the game but lost your way. Now the world sees the price you pay. Pretending blind to the cries at home, while the streets of SA ache and moan. Right, the man with the golden hue, but the deal fell flat and the lies broke through. Oh, Ramaphosa, what's the cost? Truth uncovered, bridges crossed. You played the game but lost your way. Now the world sees the price you pay. Closed doors, the mask came off. No suits, no ties, just shadows aloft. The past screams loud from the buried ground. Now the silence breaks with a deafening sound. Oh, Ramaphosa, what's the cost? Truth uncovered, bridges crossed. You played the game but lost your way. Now the world sees the price you pay. Oh, Ramaphosa, what's the cost? Truth uncovered, bridges crossed. The horrors rise from a nation torn. Whispers turn to cries of scorn. History's weight won't stay concealed. Every wound must one day heal. Oh, Ramaphosa, what's the cost? Truth uncovered, bridges crossed. You played the game but lost your way. Now the world sees the price you pay. Oh, Ramaphosa, what's the cost? Truth uncovered, bridges crossed. You pay.
And they're doing precisely what we said we as South Africans should not do. We should stop running to other countries. We should discuss our own problems here.
Good evening, America. Unless you're watching from California, then maybe not so good. Just kidding. Sort of, it's your favorite president, some say the best ever. And tonight, I've got a few things to say. So grab your popcorn, turn off the fake news, and let's talk about what's really going on. It's going to be good, really good.
I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Thursday, May 29th, 2025. Welcome back to the program. This is Chris live in central Pennsylvania. And yes, it's the third live broadcast of the day. There'll likely be some prepared videos made later this afternoon. Please tune in for those as well. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome to all the Neanderthals, canines, and right-wing podcasters out there. It's a pleasure to have you join me all again today for the news. Yes, and my clock is actually correct. It says 12:37. I thought it was behind. 20 degrees here in the studio on the 29th of May. Just 2 more days plus half of today left, 2.5 days left to get to that magical 100,000 subscriber number. And we're not there, folks. We're not there. We're at 97,347. I suspect we're going to fall short of 100,000 subscribers because I'll be busy on Saturday with rugby, covering the Bulls, hosting Edinburgh at Loftus Versfeld, and then later in the day at Kings Park. Hollywood Bets Kings Park in Durban, down on the east coast of South Africa. It's the Sharks hosting Munster. Yes, tomorrow, though, in the afternoon, after my live broadcast, we'll have on Rugby Ascendant Glasgow Warriors hosting my Stormers in Glasgow at Scottstoun Stadium. That's tomorrow, folks. So thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you can catch that. I've lost subscribers on Rugby Ascendant. Shame on you people for abandoning me just because I was busy doing the news on this side. Anyway, but thanks to all the folks who came over here and joined on this channel. There's a super chat from Francois de Jaeger, 14 Rand. Thank you for that very much. All right, let's get to it, folks. The news for today. Please hold your questions to me for afterwards so I can get through the news. Lots of news to get through. First off, President Ramaphosa is mocking Donald Trump. This from none other than Politico, reporting on the Trumpster being mocked by Cyril Ramaphosa. South Africa's president jokes about the Trump dust-up, saying he was bemused when Trump played a video amplifying claims of persecution against white farmers in South Africa. Yeah, he was set to begin speaking at the 2025 Sustainable Infrastructure Development Symposium in Cape Town on Tuesday when the lights began to go dark. He joked it reminded him of Trump requesting lights be dimmed, amplifying claims of genocide. Of course, Donald Trump never said genocide in that meeting. That is fake news and lies. Roll the tape. Dim the lights. He never said genocide. When asked a question about whether he believed there's genocide in South Africa, he said, "I'm not convinced, but the media lie all the time." So Cape Town's mayor, Jordan Hill Lewis, has survived an idiotic motion of no confidence. Yes, this is a problem with government at the municipal level structured like a parliament. It's moronic, and it's not a true democracy. Cape Town Mayor Jordan Hill Lewis survived his first motion of no confidence, was tabled by the National Colored Congress. Fidel Adams, what the hell are you up to? Hill Lewis was called the motion of no confidence frivolous, and it was frivolous. The party accused Hill Lewis of abuse of power, lack of professionalism, and failure to fulfill the responsibility expected of the city's highest office. The vote was conducted via open ballot. 138 councillors voted against the motion of no confidence, 46 in favor and 1 abstention. Why would somebody abstain? Can you not crap or get off the pot? Are you a henstopper? Make your decision there. All right, folks, utter nonsense. What a waste of resources and time. Well, the story that everybody wants, and Anne-Marie Mail asked me to cover this live, but I was unable to. Kelly Smith has been sentenced to life in prison for trafficking Jocelyn Smith. Rachel Kelly Smith, her boyfriend Joaquin Bota Apollos, and friend Stefano Fonrain were sentenced to life imprisonment on Thursday for human trafficking. During a traumatic trial, the court heard the trio hatched a plan to sell 6-year-old Jocelyn to a Sangoma for 20,000 Rand. She's been missing since February 2024. Judge Nathan Erasmus handed down sentence to the Multipurpose Center in Saldanha Bay, said there's nothing I can find that is redeeming and deserving of a lesser sentence than the harshest I can impose. These evil colored people killing this child. The 3 were sentenced 10 years on the kidnapping charge to run concurrently with life sentences, and their names will be entered into the National Child Protection Register. And there cannot be a punishment strong enough for these people if they committed these crimes. Well, Africa's wealthiest country can't even refine oil. I've covered this story endlessly in South Africa, but apparently Business Insider Africa decided to talk about it. Who are we talking about? 49% of refining capacity remains offline. Why? Because Durban is not refining fuels. Roughly 49% of South Africa's refining capacity remains idle. Over the past 5 years, the refining capacity has been cut in half due to a combination of accidents and underinvestment. In fact, it was cut to nil. It's been restored to half. They've missed that point of the story. Country now relies on imports to meet over 60% of its fuel demand, according to Transnet. In the first quarter alone, South Africa imported 4.2 million tons of refined petroleum products. For the full year, imports are expected to reach 15.5 million tons, nearly double Kenya's estimated 8.9 million tons, and significantly more than Nigeria's imported 6.4 million tons. A bunch of South Africa's main refiners have been down, per a Bloomberg report. Sapref, the country's large refinery owned by Central Energy Fund, is shut, taking 180,000 barrels a day out of production. engines plant, which pumps out 120,000 barrels, is now owned by Vitol, is also shut. That is 400 or 300,000 barrels a day of refining capacity not being done in South Africa. Welcome to the ANC South Africa. Pinot. Is this all because of rich white people? Those are black-owned companies. And they can't refine fuel because they were given to them. And they know what they're doing. Johannesburg is apparently allocating 6.4 billion rand for infrastructure repairs and urban renewal. Of course, there we see famous Bree Street, also known as Deep Sloot, at the end of August 2025, after a massive explosion rocked the city of Johannesburg. It looks like Lagos, the decrepit, filthy, dilapidated buildings on both sides of that. It looks like Lagos or, some other collapsing city like Kinshasa, not Johannesburg, once gleaming city of gold, now a cesspool of collapse and decay. Well, apparently the ANC is still obsessed with apartheid prosecutions, but they can't be bothered to prosecute those who murder people on farms. Delays in apartheid-era crimes. Only one prosecuted while 158 remain under investigation. Why is anybody under investigation? Didn't we have a Truth and Reconciliation Commission? Why were the murders of Natalie allowed to walk for stoning her to death in the Cape Flats? They were given freedom by the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, which wasn't about truth, reconciliation, or anything. It was a cover-up to let black murderers get away with murder. 31 years into democracy, only one criminal case emanating from apartheid crime has been successfully concluded, while 158 are currently under investigation and 7 are on the court roll. Why are these not simply dismissed? This is ridiculous. This government has therefore prioritized cases referred by the Truth and Reconciliation Commission to the National Prosecuting Authority, but they're not prioritizing farm murders, farm attacks, home invasions, aggravated assault. Those aren't prioritized, but these crimes are. You've had 31 years to solve this. Well, the IOL writes a story about Corné Mulder, leader of the Freedom Front Plus, with a very old photograph. No way that's recent. Saying he criticized BE laws. Yeah, well, he should criticize them. They're racist. Mulder dismissed claims that he's motivated by bitterness over not being invited to the White House. Why would he go to the White House? He's leader of a party, not a cabinet minister. What a stupid comment. When Ramaphosa made the idiotic comment, why can't black people be made to own productive aspects of work? Why can't they be rich as well? Yeah, well, they don't quote Corné Mulder's response here. That's unfortunate because Ramaphosa just spoke nonsense. Black people can't be rich because of your corruption. That's why. Because of your rapacious theft. That's why. There's no reason black people can't be rich. Except you're dumbing down of education so that very few black people have the skills to actually succeed in life. Many people are passed along and think they have the skills and feel entitled, but they can't even do chartered public accountant positions. We have to bring in the old retirees to teach them how to do their job. Utter nonsense. They're poor because of the ANC. Not apartheid, not Jan van Riebeck, not Hendrik Verwoerd. No, not because of those people. Not because of Forster, John Forster. No, because of the ANC. A witness in the Zandile Gumede endless corruption trial says she was forced to breach protocol. A witness in 320 million rand Durban solid waste tender fraud and corruption case against former eThekwini Mayor Zandile Gumede and 21 others says that working as a manager in the tenders and contracts unit, she was forced to breach protocol. I was forced to issue letters of appointment without allowing for the 14-day cooling off period. I was asked to prepare letters of appointment even before the county officer had signed the decisions. The biggest breach protocol was not following the rules where the LOAs have to go to City Hall. Gumede is charged along with current eThekwini Deputy Head of Supply Chain Management Sandile Nkqubo, Executive Councillor Monde Mtembu, former City Manager Sipho Nzuza, and former Durban Solid Waste Deputy Head Robert Abubu. They were accused of manipulating the municipality's supply chain management system over 36 months to siphon millions from the city's coffers. And that was in 2016. 9 years later, they've not faced justice. Informal settlements now are encroaching on South African military bases. This is how lax the government of South Africa has become. They're allowing their military base to be overrun by squatter towns, shacks. How informal settlements threaten South Africa's military bases and national security. Informal settlements encroached onto 10 key South African National Defense Force bases. One reported to have cows and goats in a kraal. The DA lists the following bases being compromised in the country, posing challenges to national security.
Tambour's Kloof in the Western Cape, Wingfield Naval Stores Depot in the Western Cape, 93 Ammunition Depot, Northern Cape, Combat Training Center, Northern Cape, and in Gauteng, the Defense Works Training School, the Marie Vale Military Base, Lens Military Base, the Defense Headquarters, Valmansdal, and the 43rd SA Brigade. Seriously? This is how bad things have become, that the military bases have been overrun with squatters and livestock? This isn't a country. This is a joke. Speaking of sick jokes, the brutal murder of Olerato Mungali. Suspects being hunted for, a third suspect after finding a car in KwaZulu-Natal. Police recovered a white Volkswagen Polo linked to Olerato Mungali's murder, finding traces of blood inside. The car was located at a panel beating workshop in Durban. Two suspects, Fazil Ngubane and Philangonkosi Sibongukule Makanya, are on the run. Police confirmed the trace of blood found in the vehicle, and its alleged owner, an elderly man, was arrested. Unbelievable. Her body was discovered in Gauteng on Sunday afternoon after she went on a date with a man she'd recently met. She was picked up in a white Volkswagen Polo at a residential complex in Athol and then brutally murdered. These are two of the suspects that are wanted by the police. Now, how do they have a photograph of them from the police already? Have they been criminals previously? Further intelligence led them to Durban, which is the home of one of the suspects. The suspect's vehicle was later found in a panel beater shop. Upon inspection, they found traces of blood. Two suspects are on the run, and members of the public are urged to distribute their photos far and wide to assist police investigations. Wanted, Fazil Ngubane. Police urge members of the public to immediately contact Brigadier Nama at 082-778-9035 if they spot these scumbags. 082-778-9035. Well, talking about the Banana Republic of South Africa and the treatment of women, a brave Khayelitsha woman shares her traumatic 12-hour experience of rape as a court delays a bail decision. This is a young lady who was raped. Ungiziwe Pony said she was held captive for 12 hours and raped by her kidnapper. She shared the chilling details of how she was kidnapped and allegedly raped over 12 hours after meeting a man while walking home late one night. Ongeziwe Pony, 20, said terrifying ordeal began on the evening of March 30th at 9 p.m. when she encountered the accused, Siyabonga Zono, near her home in Khayelitsha. He first told me to look at him. When I refused, he showed me a knife, then he looked at him. Allegedly searched her and demanded her cell phone. After she told him she didn't have it, he forced her to walk with him. Pony said they ended up at an informal settlement where he pushed her into an outdoor toilet, told her to take her clothes off, and then repeatedly raped her in the toilet. First time he raped her with a condom, then he raped her without a condom. This is how black South Africans are treated in South Africa. Folks, I don't often do appeals, and I'm not appealing, but I am going to share a story that's shared in the Independent Online. This is a sad story about a young lady who's courageously fought for her life and needs a small amount of money to make a huge difference in her life. I'm not trying to raise money for her, but I will tell you and share the link with you if you want to help in this. This is freely of your own decision. I'm not trying to do this, but this story touched my heart. Help Zoe here. A mother's heartfelt appeal for life-changing surgery for her 4-year-old. There's Zoe. Little colored girl. All Tracy Olivare longs for is to hear her 4-year-old daughter Zoe speak a full sentence and for Zoe to finally hear her say the words, "I love you, I'm proud of you." But those dreams remain heartbreakingly distant. The Goodwood mother, a place I drive past frequently when I'm in Cape Town on the road to Namibia, is making a public appeal to help raise funds for life-changing operation that would allow Zoe to hear for the first time. Born prematurely at just 7 months, she was given only hours to live. Doctors had to resuscitate her twice at her birth, and she was immediately placed on life support with severely underdeveloped lungs and round-the-clock medical care. The doctors told me she wouldn't make it, but she proved them all wrong. She fought harder than anyone I've ever known. Now, Tracy, a single mother, spent those critical days at her daughter's side, holding her hand, whispering prayers, and speaking life into her fragile little body.
Hours turn to days. Now 4 years old, Zoe has an unbreakable spirit, but her fight isn't over. Because of the complications of her premature birth, she has profound hearing loss. She cannot hear or speak, and her condition has delayed her development, cutting her off from the world around her. She's supposed to start school next year, Tracy explained, but she can't attend mainstream school, and the only special needs school nearby has a waiting list that just keeps growing. But there is hope. Doctors say that with a specialized hearing operation, Zoe could regain enough hearing to start learning to speak and possibly attend a mainstream school. But the surgery cost 32,000 Rand. And Tracy doesn't have the money for the surgery. She's been trying to save up every month, but as a single mom, it's impossible to reach that amount. Also been on the public hospital's waiting list for more than a year, but nothing has happened. This year is our only window. If we miss it, she may fall too far behind. So I'm not asking for money, I'm asking for hope. I want to hear her call me mommy. If you'd like to help, folks, if you'd like to help, if that's your choice, I'm not asking people to do that. I'm just saying if you'd like to help, I'm going to put the link up there for you to the Back and Buddy program. All right. Now, I can't speak to the veracity of it. This is a story in the IOL. I have no reason to doubt the veracity of this story. It's heartbreaking. It's not much money. 32,000 Rand, folks, is just over 1,600 US dollars. It's not a lot. If that could save a child's hearing, wow. If that could save a child's hearing $1,500, what a difference that could make. Yeah, so just 800 Rand donated so far. She started this campaign 2 days ago. So, anyway, folks, that's your call if you want to do something. So, shifting our focus to Namibia. Namibia honors victims of colonial genocide as reparation calls grow. 65,000 over Herero. Well, that's the Ovambo and the Herero. 10,000 Nama were killed in the first genocide of the 20th century. Actually, that wasn't the first genocide. The effort to stomp out the Afrikaners in the British concentration camps was the first genocide. Namibia honored the victims of mass killings during German colonial rule with inaugural Memorial Day on Wednesday. German soldiers killed 65,000 Herero, Ovambo, and 10,000 Nama, what historians have long called the first genocide of the 20th century. Yeah, well, you can ask for reparations, but no Germans did that to you. You're not entitled to anything. Get your government to quit stealing money and provide services for its own citizens. Zimbabwe farmers push on as land grab compensation flounders. Yes, all the big fanfare about Zimbabwe's reimbursing these farmers whom they robbed and murdered isn't going to happen. A field of paprika plants in the heart of Zimbabwe, fourth-generation farmer Daniel Burger and relative newcomer Miriam Mupambawasha discussed the quality of the crop. He's a 36-year-old, she's a 59-year-old. Their neighbors and partners in efforts to revive the country's once flourishing agricultural sector cut down by ruinous land theft in the 2000s. Yep. So they were supposed to pay these guys back. But it hasn't happened. The process has been complex and divisive. It's announced 5 years ago that $3.5 billion fund would be created to reimburse these farmers who were murdered and robbed. They haven't been paid. Surprise, surprise. Germany rejects the idiotic claim by Yoweri Museveni and his son that they were undermining Uganda's sovereignty. Germany rejects absurd accusations after Uganda cuts military ties. A spokesman for Germany's foreign ministry said at a press conference in Berlin on Monday that accusations by Uganda are absurd and without any merit, and we reject them in the strongest terms. Germany's military announced on Monday Uganda's military announced it severed all military cooperation with Germany after it accused Berlin's ambassador of involvement in subversive activities. But they gave no details of the so-called subversive activities. No proof, no evidence. Acclaimed Kenyan writer and dissident Ngugi wa Thiong'o has died at the age of 87. Born in 1930, he was a critic of British colonialism and post-colonial Kenyan society. It is with a heavy heart that we announce the passing of our dad, Ngugi wa Thiong'o. His daughter, Wanjiku wa Ngugi, wrote on Facebook yesterday. He lived a full life, fought a good fight. At the time of his death, he was reportedly receiving kidney dialysis, but his immediate cause of death is still unknown. He became one of Africa's most important post-colonial writers. Formative events in his life include the brutal Mau Mau War that got British-ruled Kenya out of the hands of the Brits in the 1950s. He made a mark for himself in the 70s when he decided to switch from writing in English to the Kikuyu and Swahili languages, which was very controversial at the time, but proved to be prescient. Miss Somalia, a victim of female genital mutilation, she was mutilated at the age of 7, speaks out against this horrific, barbaric practice, cultural practice. Miss Somalia shares her heartbreaking experience of female genital mutilation. Standing on Miss World 2025 stage, Zainab Jama, who doesn't live in Somalia, Miss Somalia delivered a deeply emotional testimony that moved many to tears. Speaking during the head-to-head challenge, Jama recounted being forced to undergo female genital mutilation at the age of 7. Her story, painfully detailed and courageously told, highlighted a tradition that continues to harm millions of girls around the world. Now living in the United Kingdom, she's using her platform to advocate for the end of the brutal practice. It involves procedures that involve the partial or total removal of the external female genitalia and stitching up of the vagina to make intercourse painful. Over 230 million girls and women today alive have been subjected to this brutal practice, with more than 4 million at risk each year. She grew up as a refugee, fleeing her homeland due to conflict and climate crisis. Oh, no, it's no climate crisis. It's conflict. Stop lying. The form of female genital mutilation is known as infibulation. She was confined to a dark room for days, legs tightly bound, bleeding and in pain. They told me to be quiet, be brave and proud, because this is our tradition. Once the cutting was complete, her skin was stitched together with thick thread, leaving a small opening barely enough for urine or menstrual blood to pass through. And the procedure was carried out without anesthesia. These brutal, barbaric Somalis. Under correction, not the British that used concentration camps and torch earth policy in Boer First War. It was the British that used scorched earth policies and built concentration camps. What are you talking about? So who was it? Did the Zulu do it to the Boers? Did Emily Hobbs get the story wrong, Crocotopia? I'm a little confused. Thank you for the £10 super chat. Surge in the value of the cedi against the dollar is improving the financial position of Ghana this year. It's jumped more than 40% this year alone, far outperforming any African currency or emerging market peers, shrinking the cost of the country's foreign debt and giving it more fiscal breathing room. Congratulations to President John Mahama in his second tour as president, as Ghana's economy begins to recover because of the appreciation in the value. But that does have a dual-edged sword. It does make their exports more expensive, but their debt is a bigger concern than exports. The African Development Bank has secured a record $11 billion in new investments. Well, that's not investments. That's money given to the bank so they can loan it out to people who will never pay it back. I wouldn't call that investment. Yeah, this is what they're spending. Yeah, the African Development Bank announced $11.1 billion in new investments, as revealed in its latest annual development effectiveness review. $5.5 billion is allocated to climate finance. That's not an investment. That's money pissed down a drain. So $11.1 billion in payouts. That's what it actually is. Under the Trump administration, the U.S. Africa Command is facing the axe. It faced the axe against in the previous Trump administration and in the Obama administration. But it has been around since 2007, fully operational in 2008. I was there at the beginning as a plank holder. This is a foolhardy decision by the Trump administration if they decide to eliminate the Africa Command. They're not saving money. The command spends about $180 million a year to $230, somewhere in that range. It's not much money for what they do. U.S. is weighing future of military command in Africa, according to General Langley. President Trump's administration considering merging Africa Command, which became a distinct geographic command in 2008, yes, but it was formed in 2007, with the U.S. Command in Europe to cut bureaucracy, American media outlets reported back in March. Speaking to reporters at a conference, the African defense chiefs in Kenya, General Michael Langley said he discussed the issue with officials on the continent. I've talked to a number of ministers in defense and a few presidents told them we are assessing. Yes. Before 2008, U.S. military activities in Africa were handled by commands from other regions. Correct. And it was a huge mistake. And now they want to go back to that era. Massive situation in Switzerland, folks, where a glacier has collapsed and buried a town that no longer exists. Glacier collapse is burying nearly all Swiss alpine village. We've lost our village, the mayor of Blatten said after the glacier's explosive collapse covered it in ice, rock, and mud. One person is missing, despite the warning that they had. On Wednesday afternoon, the glacier broke apart under the weight of underlying rocks, sending some 3 million cubic meters of ice, rock, and mud towards these people's homes. The glacier's collapse was so explosive that it corresponded to a 3.1 magnitude earthquake on Switzerland scale. In a statement, the agency said the mass movement was one of the largest ever recorded in the country. Stephanie Ganza, a counselor in the province of Valais, told Swiss media that the cascade of rubble buried 90% of the village, which was evacuated days before. Authorities suspect the collapse was triggered by high-altitude snow melt. We've lost our village, Blatten Mayor Matthias Belwald said during an emotional news conference. One person, a 64-year-old resident, believed to have been in the area at the time the collapse was missing. Wow. Let's see if we can get this video to play. That is insane. Look at that. Wow. That is insane. The power of earth is insane. Look at this. And there's the village about to be buried. Wow. Mother Nature is cruel. That's absolutely bat crap crazy, folks. Look at that.
We just spent 2.5
Wow.
hours
That's
talking
insane.
to Vladimir Putin, and I think.
Wow. Wow. Whew. What do you say? What do you say about that, man? That's just crazy. Power of Mother Nature. Well, a trade court has struck down President Trump's tariffs in what I believe is an overextension of the court's decision. They're basically declaring what's happening to be unconstitutional, but that's not the role of the Court of International Trade. Yep, it's like a district court in the U.S. It was created a long time ago. It used to be known as a customs court until 1980. And President Trump was acting under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act of 1977, authorized the president to interdict and regulate international commerce after declaring a national emergency in response to unusual extraordinary threat. The unusual extraordinary threat is the attack on America's economy by our trading partners. They've declared his tariffs to be illegal and invalid. The Trump administration is appealing this, and we'll see what happens. But I don't think they have the authority to do this, but then I'm not a legal scholar. Trade court strikes down Trump's global tariffs. So the tariffs are gone, except for the ones he placed on specific commodities like aluminum and steel. Federal court ruled President Trump didn't have the authority to impose sweeping tariffs on virtually every nation, voiding the levies that have sparked a global trade war and threatened to upend the world economy. What this court has done is they've undermined U.S. foreign policy and given free rein to the ANC to continue to destroy South Africa because they'll not face a 31% tariff. But the president does have this authority, which was delegated to him by Congress. He's acting under the law. This court is saying that Congress doesn't have the authority to delegate that, but the Constitution clearly gives the Congress the authority to delegate responsibilities to other branches of government. So I suspect this will be overturned. And even if it's not overturned, the president retains many other powers within his authority to impose these tariffs. So watch for news reports of more tariffs being imposed. U.S. will aggressively revoke visas of Chinese students, according to Secretary of State Marco Rubio. He says students will have their visas canceled, including people with ties to the Chinese Communist Party who are studying in critical fields because they're spying on America. State Department is revising visa criteria to enhance security of all future applicants from China, including Hong Kong. The move is certain to send ripples of anxiety across the university campus in the U.S. was likely to lead to reprisal from China. Reprisal what? So you're going to stop Americans from studying at your Chinese communist universities? Go ahead. Go ahead. Paramount has offered Donald Trump $15 million for their altering and doctoring an interview with failed presidential candidate Kamala Harris. Trump says, nope, $25 million and an apology. The president's team has threatened another lawsuit amid settlement talks. A month into negotiations between Paramount Global and President Trump to settle a lawsuit against CBS News, they remain far apart on terms. Paramount in recent days offered $15 million to settle. Trump team wants more than $25 million and is seeking an apology from CBS News. They threatened another lawsuit unless they got what they wanted. Trump's lawsuit against Paramount CBS News alleges the network deceitfully edited a 60 Minutes interview with Democratic presidential candidate Kamala Harris to make her sound better and seeks $20 billion in damages. Well, I think $20 billion is a bit excessive, but $300 million sounds good to me. Yeah, CBS should be bankrupted for what they did here, trying to steal an election with their behavior. Trump has granted clemency to 26 people, including a former gang leader And of course, the reality TV host we talked about, some former politicians. James Callahan has been pardoned. Former International Union of Operating Engineers pled guilty to knowingly filing false reports to the Labor Department. Todd and Julie Crisley were pardoned. They will be released for their tax evasion. Kendall Galdron, a rap artist known as Youngboy, Never Broke Again, or NBA Youngboy, has been pardoned. Michael Grimm and Larry Hoover, controversial murderer, has been pardoned by, or had a sentence commuted by President Trump. Co-founder of the infamous Gangster Disciples of Chicago, he's been in prison since the early 70s for crimes including murder. In recent years, Kanye West and Drake have pushed for his case to be reconsidered. He is a murderer and will now be freed from prison. What is this, South Africa? We let murderers out of prison? John Rowland, former governor of Connecticut, Republican, pardoned. And then Imad Zubari had his sentence commuted. Trump's nuclear reactor orders could loosen radiation standards, cries Barron's. But more importantly, we're going to get nuclear energy. Nuclear energy industry got a big boost last Friday when President Trump signed executive orders aimed at speeding up construction of reactors. Trump wants to loosen rules on how much radiation can be emitted from nuclear plants. The orders designed to ramp up the construction of new reactors at a time when none are being built in the United States because of the wackadoodle leftists who claim they care about green energy and then shut down one of the few forms of green energy that's reliable and affordable, nuclear. U.S. will ban foreign officials over flagrant censorship on social media. The United States will impose visa bans on foreign nationals it deems to censor Americans, according to Secretary of State Marco Rubio. He didn't specify an instance of censorship, but U.S. tech companies and the Trump administration have challenged U.S. allies in Europe, alleging censorship of social media platforms. Well, they have censored us. Europe is a hotbed of digital censorship, says the Trump administration. Brazilian Supreme Court Justice Alexander de Moraes clashed with X over compliance with orders to take down accounts accused of spreading misinformation. Misinformation is not a crime. Governments do it all the time. They should be prosecuted if it's a crime. 2 criminal alien invaders have murdered a U.S. citizen. 2 illegal immigrants arrested in connection with a fatal hit and run of Air Force prep graduate Ava Moore. 2 illegal immigrants from Venezuela have been arrested in connection with the death of the 18-year-old. There she is. 2 illegal immigrants were arrested in connection with a hit-and-run jet ski collision that killed Air Force Academy cadet candidate. Texas law enforcement officials said. Grapevine police and Texas game warden said during the May 28th press conference, the suspects were captured in Dallas on May 27th after 2 days on the run. The prospective cadet, Ava Moore, 18 years of age, was kayaking on Grapevine Lake on May 25th when she was struck and killed by a jet ski. Carlene Alejandra Gonzalez, 21, was allegedly operating the jet ski at the time. Michael Coelho Perozo, 21, allegedly helped her flee the scene. Both suspects are Venezuelan nationals and are in the country illegally. Once again, an American is dead because criminal alien invaders are in this country. These 2 criminals must be prosecuted and sentenced for the murder of an American citizen. The fact that they fled makes it a murder. It wasn't an accident. If they'd stayed and faced the consequences. Well, I warned you that the media would lie about Elon Musk and what's happening once he leaves his temporary appointment as the head of Doge. I did tell you this ever from the very beginning. From the very beginning, I've been saying it over and over again. As soon as Elon Musk leaves, they'll claim that Elon Musk is disgruntled, that he and Trump are separated, they have a dispute, that it's not true. It was a 120-day appointment. That's the maximum time that Trump can appoint someone in that sort of position without going before the Senate for confirmation hearings to a position. And that's what it was, a temporary appointment. But now that he's left, the New York Slimes is already trying to claim that there's space between Trump and Musk. A disillusioned Musk, distanced from Trump, says he's exiting Washington. The billionaire has made clear he's frustrated with the obstacles he encountered as he tried to upend the federal bureaucracy. Yes, he's frustrated with the obstacles, not with Trump. Fake media. And it took 4 or 5 liars to publish this. Tyler Pager, Maggie Haberman, Theodore Schiffler, Jonathan Swan, and Ryan Mack. Apparently, they're not capable of writing an article all by themselves. It took 5 of them to write this. Elon Musk took a swipe at President Trump's signature domestic policy legislation, saying it would add to the national deficit. That's not a swipe. That's a fact. Even Trump admitted that. He complained to administration officials about a lucrative deal that went to a rival company to build an artificial intelligence data center in the Middle East. And he's yet to make good on a $100 million pledge to Trump's political operation. Really? He never gave $100 million to Trump? Wow. Money hasn't come in yet, according to multiple sources. Well, okay. So, What's that got to do with being broken up with Trump? Nothing. United and JetBlue form an alliance to sell tickets on each other's flights. That's interesting. Good news for JetBlue. Interest full disclosure, I have a small number of shares in JetBlue. The arrangement will give United long-sought access to JFK Airport, while JetBlue flyers will get access to a broader network of destinations. United Airlines and JetBlue Airways are entering a partnership that will expand JetBlue's reach and pave the way for United to resume flights at JFK. The arrangement will allow the airline's customers to earn and spend frequent flyer miles on both airlines. United will get access to slots at New York's JFK for up to 7 daily round-trip flights starting in 2027. JetBlue has been on the hunt for a new partner after its previous efforts to link up with other airlines were blocked. A federal judge blocked it from alliance with American Airlines and struck down its merger with Spirit last year. The federal government under the Biden administration has been intentionally trying to destroy JetBlue and bankrupt it because it's a profitable, successful, privately held company, and they hate success. They hate success. So they tried to destroy it. The WNBA reports that there is no merit whatsoever to the bogus black supremacist racist lies about the Indiana Fever game against the Sky. WNBA says it cannot substantiate bogus claims that racist remarks were made by fans at Sky Fever game. The league said its investigation included gathering information from fans, team, and arena staff, as well as audio and video review of the game, and there was nothing to it. Just a bunch of lies by black supremacists and racists who hate Caitlin Clark and white people. The WNBA says it cannot substantiate claims that racist fan behavior took place because it didn't. The league said its investigation included gathering all kinds of information. We appreciate the quick action by the league and the Indiana Fever to take this matter seriously and investigate, Chicago Sky CEO and President Adam Fox said. The process demonstrates the league's strong stance on stopping all hate. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't, because the hate came from the false allegations. People booed Angel Reese because she tried to assault Caitlin Clark. That's why they booed her. That's not racist. Angel Reese acted like a thug. Caitlin Clark walked away after a hard foul. We don't appreciate this investigation by the WNBA. It's kowtowing to racist and black supremacists. It's enough of it. Donald Trump apparently is not happy about the size of the aircraft donated by Qatar, and The Guardian is obsessed with it. Trump laments the size of a much too big airplane gifted by Qatar. The Boeing 747-8 is a present from the Gulf state, is more than 18 foot longer than the current Air Force One. Donald Trump's big, beautiful new plane from the government of Qatar has arrived, but the U.S. president says it's too big for his personal perk. Well, first off, it's not a personal perk. It's a perk of the office, not a personal perk for Donald Trump, you scumbag leftist hate wankers at The Guardian. And the plane doesn't belong to Trump. It's donated to this government. Do we have to give back Statue of Liberty? That was donated by France, claiming it's an inappropriate gift. The problem is the president is not the smack of impropriety that comes with accepting. It's not a smack of impropriety. It was given to the U.S. government. What's your problem, you leftist hate wankers? 2-year-old American girl deported with her undocumented parents. Once again, pulling at the heartstrings, the Washington Compost lying. This is a false interpretation of the 14th Amendment granting citizenship to anchor babies. They're not American citizens. Since being flown to Brazil in February, Manu has become all but stateless, removing from her place of birth and not yet adopted by her parents' home country. Well, that's Brazil's fault. She's a Brazilian national. Ileonia Gonçalves woke with a feeling of dread. Her first thought was her 2-year-old daughter, Manu. Manu is American. She was born in Fort Lauderdale Hospital in September 2022 because her parents were criminal alien invaders. In February, she was taken into custody alongside her mother and father, both of whom were undocumented, criminal alien invaders, and placed on a deportation flight to Brazil, where the family's been plunged into bureaucratic morass. You shouldn't be rewarded for breaking our laws. And citizenship isn't automatic because you broke our laws. Well, the do-gooders are destroying cattle ranches, yes, with the reintroduction of wolves. Wolves are wreaking havoc on cattle herds in California. Ranchers say their hands are tied as reintroduced wolves, listed as endangered, are feasting on cattle instead of hunting elk or deer. Descendants of rewilded wolves are taking a heavy toll on cattle in Northern California, Oregon, killing calves and full-grown animals and putting stress on the cow-calf operations and ranchers' pocketbooks. Because wolves are listed as endangered species illegitimately under state and federal law, ranchers are hamstrung. They can't shoot or harass these protected predators. The penalty for killing a wolf is steep. Federal law carries a maximum sentence of 1 year in prison and a $100,000 fine, unless a rancher can prove that it was in self-defense, which is almost impossible to prove. These are welfare wolves, says Jana Martin Gilato, owner of the Table Rock Ranch. We have entitled wolves multiple generations. One wolf pack, known as the Whale Pack near her ranch, doesn't seem inclined to hunt elk or deer. Since November 2021, wolves have killed at least 44 head of cattle at her ranch. Jeez. She received tiers of partial compensation to pay a range rider to patrol her herd at night, but the funds ran out, so now it's out of pocket. And that's the ranch. So the federal government protects wolves, but not ranchers. Harrison Tyler, the grandson of the 10th president of the United States, just passed away at the age of 96. This was someone whose grandfather was born in the 18th century. Harrison Ruffin Tyler, a successful chemical engineer and preservationist who dedicated half his life to restoring and maintaining the colonial area home of his grandfather, President John Tyler, as well as the Civil War fort nearby, died at the age of 96. Mr. Tyler's life was intertwined with those of his famous ancestors. His grandfather, the 10th president of the United States, was born in 1790, the year of the first census in the United States. 1790. His grandfather, not his great-great-great-grandfather, his grandfather was born in 1790, and he died in 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all of the 19th century, all the 20th century. It's 235 years from birth of grandfather to death of grandson. That is insane. That is insane, folks. Wow. His grandfather was born in 1790 when George Washington was in his first term as president, and he served as president of the United States from 1841 to 1845. He's also related to President William Henry Harrison, Pocahontas, and Edmund Ruffin, pro-slavery secessionists who fought in the Civil War. But he was born into poverty in 1928, 26. When was he born? Born into poverty and became very wealthy. Born in 1928 in Charles City, Virginia. Grew up in poverty as his family, like millions of others during the Great Depression, learned to survive on very little. Yeah. And here is President John Tyler's great-grandson. So that's his son, William Tyler, in front of a painting of his father back in 2020. Wow, that's unbelievable. We still had someone with direct ties to the American Revolution who just passed away this week. That's insane. Do you know we finally finished paying the last Civil War pension a couple of years ago? Civil War ended in 1865. We paid pensions until like 2018. It's insane because a Civil War veteran who was in his 70s fathered the child with like a 14-year-old girl in the early 20th century before he died. And then that kid lived to be, she was in a home, she lived to be, almost 100 or something like that. It's crazy. Heart is breaking for the little one because I'm just not able to help. That's all right, Tony. I'm sure some people can help. Evening, folks. That's the news for today. Be sure to hit the like button. Don't run off. We're not done yet. I can't stop producing here the best thing. I don't know what you're saying there. Healthy gene pool. That is a healthy gene pool. Fun fact, the Tired Hungry plaque on the Statue of Liberty was not original created. But no, it's just some poem written by some leftist hate wanker. Yep. It's a donated plaque. It has nothing to do. That's all just nonsense. 5,672. God bless. Oh, is this for helping Zoe? Let me go take a look at what's going on over there. Zoe. Let me get to that very quickly here, folks. Okay, so 800 Rand. And we're now at 7,222 Rand. Thank you guys so much. This is obviously coming from my audience. Thank you all so much. You guys are amazing. Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. Awesome. Yeah, thank you all so much. 39 donors now. She's trying to get 32,000. She was at just 800. So 6,400 donation already. Thank you guys for doing that. I, too, will go in and make a donation. Yep. Rowan says, if it hurts your feelings, leave. What hurts whose feelings? YouTube blocks your chat. Joe Rogan's plan for the Coyotes and perhaps Wolves. No, I have no idea what the plan is really. Hey, Ruthie, what's going on? Okay, read the plane goes to Trump Museum after his term ends. No, it doesn't. It belongs to the Air Force. Where are you getting that from? Maz, are you censoring people? What's going on? You'll lose your mod thing if you're doing it. Just donated, says Milan, okay? Any truth to our skies being somewhat prohibited from flying west and north? Yes, there's some truth to it. It could very well happen. It could have no international flights coming into South Africa here very soon. Even I knew from Stuart Musk was only there for a short period, says Karen. You're right. Okay. Moving now with donations. Great. Okay. So much cruelty and sadness in the world. Yeah, I can't vouch for the program, but Will's donated. Thank you for that. Those who can donate, thanks. I mean, I could be here asking for super chats, but instead I'm asking you if you want to help out Zoe to get her hearing. That would be amazing. Is Mr. Trump aware of the evil Ramaphosa? Yes, I think he's aware. So 7,222 was the amount when I did a moment ago. Now we got 300 more. Okay, what about the refugees? Then how will we leave? Well, we'll have to fly C-17s to Botswana, and you'll have to cross the border and board there, or Namibia. Can I be Jennifer Rob? Will it be? Of course it'll be available, Amanda. I leave all my videos up unless I get a strike. IRGC released a statement they will activate sleeper cells across U.S. Iraqi Republican Guard Command. I don't know about that, Marius. I hadn't heard about that. Varoshka, thank you for the 14 Rand super chat. Who let the colonels out? What? Hey, Arc Precision. Okay, so snares were terrible on our farm. Had to check weekly. Okay, back to BE. Why can't South Africa produce? Okay, now I need to look over here and see what's going on with this claim that people are getting censored. Let me see. I don't see anything's taken out. No, I don't see anything taken out here. All right, the back of Buddy is posted at the top there, folks. 881 people currently here. Okay, I'm going to go make a donation. Zoe got my super chat. No, it's okay, Steve. It's okay. If we can help a child in need, I assume we're doing that. I hope we're not being taken. I don't think we are. Let me just go and do this right now really quickly here. Okay. Once off. Okay. 0% platform. Okay. Okay, I'm writing a message. All right, so I'm saying that I hope this helps Zoe. I and my audience, or I should say my audience and I, look at me, look at that, my audience and I hope you reach, and so I'm donating for people who can't donate, okay? Hope you reach the goal quickly and get her the surgery needed, okay? Hopefully I can actually donate. It just depends because the South African thing, sometimes it becomes difficult. Okay, okay, I want to make sure they weren't giving away my email. I want to make sure they weren't giving away my email, okay? Okay, let's do this here. Okay. So let me dig out a credit card here, folks. Center for Ants. What's that? Okay. Okay. I put a card in here. I'm going to need glasses for this. I wouldn't say 90% of the drivers in Gauteng are behind luxury cars, but there are certainly a lot. I've driven through Gauteng. That's not what my observation has been. Okay, expiry date. CBV. Okay. Probably going to have to get an approval come through here. Flippy was activated earlier. In fact, we've actually got an automated bugger off bunny now. So we got an automated bugger off bunny now. Did it go? Success. Okay, cool. Alrighty, folks. So there we go. So I donated. Cool. All right. And let me just get back to that. Come back here. Where you at? There we are. Back a buddy. Continue. Okay. All right. Well, why don't you take me to the darn page, man? Okay. Okay, why is my donation not there? Is it? Come on. Come on back, buddy. Why are you not loading? There we go. Cool beans. All right, folks. We are now up to, for the Back a Buddy program, trying to help this young child. Let's see where we're at here. 9,592. Well done, team. Well done, team. 9,592. There you go. There you go, folks. Wow. Too many people donate at once. Yeah. There you go. Oh, you guys got the 9,000 quicker than I did. Wow. That's why they have SUVs for potholes. Anyway, so I just donated 2,000. So hopefully someone else. Jay Lyons gave 1,000. Lots of anonymous. Steve gave 100. Thank you, Steve. Elizabeth Ziedenhout gave 200. Thank you all. Every penny, I'm sure, helps. That's a good start here, folks. Hopefully we can make a difference. Can't imagine not being able to hear or see. Can't imagine it. I value those things too much. Excuse me. Sorry. Whoa, it's 11,000 now. Look at that. Look at that. Someone, we're at 11,000. Wow. Wow, way to go. A Chris Wyatt viewer just gave 2,000. Wow, thank you for that. Van, are you here? Oh, yeah. In 30 minutes, we went from 800 to 11,700 Rand. Yep. Yep. Bore my complaint. Yep, absolutely. Alta says she knows how it feels not to be able to hear. I don't. I never went. I don't know if it's Van. I'm guessing it was Van. I may have falsely attributed it to someone. I don't wonder you have 16 wives. Yeah. All right, Herman Fourie, thank you for donating the 500 Rand. Who's crying? Oh, we're 12,000 now. You guys, man. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. It doesn't take a lot of people. Most of us donating can afford that amount we've donated. If you can't afford, don't donate, folks. Don't feel obliged. No one has to donate. Yeah. Wow. Just, that's awesome. How do you know the mom is crying? How do you know the mom is crying? Siobhan Bronkhorst. Man, Siobhan, that's an unusual spelling of Siobhan. Wow, thank you for the 35 Rand super chat. I think my alert thing is turned off here. We need to turn that bad boy back on. I think we all need a lighthearted moment, don't we? We need a lighthearted moment here, right? Snuggles, I guess you did miss me in the Cape. Sorry about that. Time for a lighthearted moment. Brought to you by Baby Trump.
So now they're crying over toys. Toys made in China. They say tariffs will ruin Christmas. I say good. Maybe it's time your kids learn where things come from. Not everything shows up in a box with a smile. We gave China our factories. They gave us cheap junk. Now we take it back. And if a few kids miss out on plastic garbage this year, blame the deals you voted for.
They say I'm the problem. Yeah, it's 13,092. I just saw that. Skip the KFC tomorrow. Change the life. There you go. Don't buy a pack of smokes. Change the life. That's right. Drop in a bucket. You'll feel your donation later in the month when it comes and your credit card bill comes, but this child will feel it for the rest of her life. Let's hope that they can give her some hearing. What anecdotes, Snuggles? Well, information I get from people on the ground. That's the anecdotes. But I don't have the data because they don't accurately record what's going on. Anyway, yeah, so it's more. Okay, well, let me go look. And the guys keep saying Chris Wyatt viewers. You guys are too kind to mention my name there. Thank you so much for those who are donating. It takes a little while. It's slow because it must be a lot of people donating to it. I'm far. 13,192. Okay, well, I already said 192. Okay, donate your Starbucks coffee. You guys are killing me here, killing me. All right, well, unfortunately, I can't stick around to keep pushing that thing up. But you guys are amazing. Thanks for those who can do it. I do have to go to the dentist, so I'm going to have to head out of here in a few moments. But while we're on this, let me just let you guys know what's going on with the channel. 97,361 subscribers. Louise just gave a super chat. Why is my is it on? The bugger off bunny needs to be turned off. And is my, where's that button at? Alert box is off. Okay, sorry, Louise. 97,361 viewers. By the way, today we go over 20 million views in this program. I haven't even mentioned that until just now. It has yesterday's data. So yesterday it was 19,995,578 views. We've obviously gone over that today with a lot of views. So today, the 29th of May, 2025, we reached 20 million views on the channel. Thank you all so much for that. 1.8 million hours of content viewed, 97,000 plus subscribers. Thank you all so much for that. It really is awesome. Testament to the Wyatt Army. You guys are great. Thank you. Treat myself to an ice cream after this. Louise Ice gave 350 Rand super chat. Thank you, Louise. Excuse me. Thanks so much for love and deep interest in our country. You're the voice we need to keep our spirits going over the doom and gloom. All right. Actually, don't know any more people. Can I ask to subscribe? Subscribe. Well, thank you for that, Lynn. Everyone subscribe. Is it 14,000 now? You guys, man, look at that. Look at that. We're almost halfway there. Almost halfway there. 14,000. Someone just gave another 1,000 Rand. Oh, it's another 500. So 14,092 is where we're at now. Wow, guys. Wow. Wow. Well done. Anyway, yeah, so unfortunately I've got to go. Thank you all for the super chats on my channel, and those who were able to donate, thank you for the donations you've made over on that to try to help little Zoe. For those who want to donate but don't have the means, thank you for your thoughts, whether it's here on this channel or it's helping out little Zoe. Thank you very much. It's the thought that does count. Your thoughts and the power. I'm not one of these mushy people, but power positivity, I guess, really can make a difference. And let's see how that goes. I will cover this again when I come back on next time. I'll point it out, and yeah, we'll see if we can't get more people to go make a difference. Yeah. Anyway, folks, thanks a lot. Really do appreciate it. It just shows the power of a lot of people. You know, all of us gave a small amount. 2,000, I think, is the biggest amount there. That's about $100 US. Making a difference here. Wow. So well done. All right, guys, time for me to wrap up. Thank you all so much for being here. Appreciate watching my 3 streams and putting up with you today. So the stream I did earlier, analyzing what Panul had to say. There's 1,000 rand from Veronica before the show. We'll make 30,000. Wait, somebody just gave 1,000. Okay, Tuppence gave 1,000 rand. My goodness, why is that not coming? Oh, I got my on mute. Thank you, Tuppence. And then there's 14 rand from Veronica. Thank you so much, guys. Wow, that's just a reward for me to. Wow, thank you so much for that 100 rand super chat. That was amazing. Let me go look and see. One final look to see where it's at. It was at 14,092 last time. Let's see if it's gone up. And it is at, come on, back a buddy. You guys are so slow. Come on. 16,000. Folks, halfway there. Wow. Hank, well done. All you guys. Verushka, you gave as well. Thank you. And Debbie, thank you guys so much. All right, 16,000 out of 32. We're over halfway there to help this young lady out. Wow. All right, let's keep going. Donnie Pinaval, thank you so much. All right, guys, I really do got to go. The dentist can be mad at me if I'm late in the chair. All right? Half full, empty. No, it's half full. So we're almost there. All right, guys, God bless, and we'll catch you later. Cheers. Thanks a lot.